Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to meet you all in the episode 2 of Art and Artist. We did look at about Thurayu Sri Rajgopala Sharma in the first episode, and I also talked about a bit on what is art and artist and why we are doing it. Just to recap, there were a lot of artists who were serving to art, but those artists, for whatever reason, they were not um, recognized much, or they were not known to the world much, or people are not aware of their history. And I'm sure there are a lot to learn from their life too. So this initiative is to preserve the history of those artists and give it to the next generation so that the generation will be able to cherish the details and also learn from these real great artists. Okay, so today we have another great artist called Musri Subramania Iyer. I don't know how many of you know about him. So there are a lot of history behind him. I'm sure, today's episode is going to be a little longer because there are a lot of details to talk about him, as well as I'm going to play a couple of his recordings as well. Okay, so let's try jump into the details about him. So Musri Subramaniam Iyer. So he is born on 9th of April 1899 in Bommalapalayam. Bommalapalayam is a small village in Trichy district. Actually, it is somewhere near Musiri, you can say. And you know, Subramaniam Iyer is a great vocalist. I think a lot of us know about it, and he's a very good teacher as well. He has been teaching a lot of shishyas, and also he was part of in colleges as well. We'll look at it, and he was also giving concerts in radio. And I think the good fact about Musri sir is he's also about and he's an actor as well, and he is even though he has acted in one of the main movie called Tukaram. So we'll talk about that movie later. So he has done very good there. He is a very good playback singer, and a lot of people doesn't know about it. He's a writer as well. Let's look at quick details about his family. And his father is called Sankara Shastri, and he's a very good Sanskrit Pandit. In those days, that too, from a small village, it's really a great to see people how they lived in there. And his mother is Sita Lakshmi. Unfortunately, he lost his mother in his early ages, and similarly, he lost his sister also, the Rajati, as well in the early ages. And his family was very poor family, and then like he's trying to learn music from the childhood itself. And later in the stage, he also married to Nagalakshmi. She is Musri Subramaniam sir's wife. Okay, so now we might also have other questions how about his children's and all. So as per the sources, I from the internet, I didn't see any evidence of he had any children's as such. I think some couple of places they also mentioned that he did not have children's, but he has treated all his sishyas and the next generation as children. So that's why he taught them very well. Okay, so now let's look at how Musri sir has become part of the music or art. Okay, so he used to listen to S.G. Kitappa's songs. So he's inspired by Kitappa. So that's why that's the part it has led him to the field of music. And I think it is around when he was 17. he wanted to start learning the music. Initially, he was taking a training under S. Narayana Swami Iyer. So he was taking some training under him, and then he was sent to get trained under Karur Chinnaswamy Iyer. So, and he was actually a violinist, so he was teaching Musri sir. But due to his busy schedule and he also thought that Musri sir had a nice voice and bright future. So he advised him to go to Chennai and get trained under T.S. Sabes Iyer, right? So then Musri sir moved to Chennai in 1920s, and then so he started getting training under Sabes Iyer. Basically, he was undergoing a training in a curriculum format under Sabes Iyer for almost 9 years, and that's where he has got a lot of knowledge from Sabes Iyer. We'll look at some of those in the upcoming slides as well. Okay, so as I said, he has moved to Chennai in the 1920s, and then he was undergoing the training under Sabesh Iyer. So actually, so when he started performing in the sabas, then actually after the training, he started performing in some of the sabas. I think he started from sabas in Triple K to start with. Then, when people wanted to announce the name of the artist, right? In those days, they'll give some a quick intro. Even now, people do it. So when they do the introduction, they started introducing him as a Subramania Iyer of Musri, even though he did not born from born in Musri. Actually, it's a village near Musri. So Musri was a famous known place those days, at least if not Bumalapalayam. Musri was people could recognize it, so that's why he was called as Musri Subramaniam Iyer or Subramaniam Iyer of Musri, right? Then people started listening to his concerts, and there were a lot of articles were written in Hindu, Deccan Herald, and Shruti, and there were a lot of other magazine about his concerts. Everywhere, if you look at it, I have referred at least a few of them. I've referred Shruti and Hindu articles, and everywhere if you look at it, and even if you talk to people, I'm sure they will be definitely recognizing Musri sir for his Baba, meaning the way how he sings the kritis, and you will be definitely mesmerized, and you will be enjoying the mood of how the composer would have been there, and then how he would have sung those songs, right? He will create awesome baba out of those songs. All those things were possible in some cases because he was singing many of those kritis in Vilamba Kala, meaning Vilamba Sangeetam is something he is very much familiar for, and that led him to create a lot of Baba. So that's why in some places he was quoted as the human face of Baba. So you can imagine how much quality of Baba he has given, right? And his voice was very nice, and his pitch was in F sharp when he was young, and later in this stage it went up to it came down to D sharp, is what people say, right? And he is also learned lot of details about how could he render the Niraval from his guru T.S. Sabesh Iyer, because Sabesh Iyer is very much familiar, or created a good style of rendering the Niraval. So Musri sir also learned that from Sabesh Iyer, and then he has performed in various concerts, and also I think he has taught the similar thing to his next Shishya Parambaras. So even now, if you go and look at Musri school, meaning Shishyas of Musri sir, you could witness that, is what I would say. Right. So then he is not only singing a lot of concerts in India, he has also started traveling to abroad. So in those days, going to abroad is not that appreciated. Meaning, people are not really from the village. They don't even really allow people to travel abroad because they don't even wanted people to cross the sea and go to the different countries. But still, Musri sir broke all this, and then he traveled to abroad, and then I think he went to various places like Singapore, Burma, and Ceylon, and I think he was also was part of Malaysia as well. And he was singing in a lot of concerts for fundraising. And for some of the celebrities as well. So that was a good thing, and I think he was able to experience different things, and at the same time he was able to uh, spread the art across the globe is what I would say. In that way, he is like one of the world famous vocalists you can call it. Okay. And he has his own way of singing songs, right? Meaning singing kridis like the Bhava or the Niravel and things like that. So that's why his style is called Musri School or Musri Body. So even now, if you go and look at or listen to concerts, they'll say this looks like Musri Bani, or this looks, I think this might be a Musri school. So something like that you can hear. So all those things are because he has created his own like a style or a Barney, I would say. Right? Okay. So another interesting fact we should definitely call it out is about his contribution towards Tyagaraja's Kriti, Nagumomu. I think many of us have would have heard this song from various artists, right? It is Musri sir who created a difference from anybody else, right? So I think it is believed that in the initial stages, or it's believed that Tyagaraja, when he was composing or singing this song, it was originally tuned to Aberi Raga, right? But when Musri sir was trying to sing this song, he believed that Karnataka Devakantari is more suitable than Haberi for this particular song, right? So in those days, people don't even dare to make any changes to the the ragas or talas of any of the kritis. I think nowadays, people do it a lot because they either do it as a fusion or they mix up with a lot of other things, and it's become so much like easy nowadays, or or even then they don't even worry about the heritage or the actual thought process what the composer would have had, right? But in those days, it is very, very tough, and people don't even accept those changes. But when Musri sir was singing this particular song, Nagamomu, in Karnataka Devakantari, it suited very much good. And people thought that maybe yes, Tyagaraja would have initially thought through about this one, and maybe he would have also sung in Karnataka Devakandari. And then people slowly started accepting it, and later Bangalore Nagaratnamma and MS Subbulakshmi and also Bhanumati Ramakrishna, they are some of the artists who followed Musri sir and then started singing Nagamomu in Karnataka Devakantari. See the level of impact he has created on music. That gives us the glimpse of how much in-depth knowledge he had in the field of music, right? And then we had a couple of other songs, or some of the songs which was more familiar because of Musri sir, we can say. Enta Vedukontudu, Saraswati Manohari is one of it, and then Entu Dakinadu, Todi Raga is another one. And we will also have I think some of the other songs which was familiarized by Musri sir is Tiruvadi Charanam in Kamboji, and then Entrik Sivakribai in Mukari. Then Virita Senchadai Ada in Ragamaligai. I think this is something, and I was reading in one of the the blogs. So people are also searching for the lyrics for this song. I think it's become very familiar that people they have recordings, and I think they're also looking for some of them lyrics. If people have, please do share that in the comment section so that we can share that with other people, and it will be helpful for some of those who's looking for it. Okay, so now let's quickly listen to his Nagamomo for some time.
Nagma maganale ni nadale lele nagma maganale ni nadale lele nagma maganale ni nadale lele nagma Nadali lagmo ganale ni nadali lagmo ganale ni nadali lalo bro Radha Raghuvarani Nalbro Radha Raghuvarani Nalbro Radha Raghuvarani Nagmo Ganaleni Nadani Mangara Jalagaraja Dharani Barivaru La La Nagaraja Dharani Barivaru La La Nagaraja Dharani Sagara duniya la divini vega danale do Sagara duniya la divini vega danale Sagara duniya la divini vega danale Sagara duniya Gadalale do Sagara duniya gadalale do Gaganale gilago baguduram bali nada Gaganale gilago baguduram bali nada Gagananiki lagu 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 baguduram bali nada Jagamella Jagamella ತಾಳನು ನಲ್ಲೆಯದು ಕೋರಾ ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜನು ತನಿ ನಗುಮೋ ಮಗನಾದಾರಿ ತೆಲಿಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೋ ರಘುವರ ರಗಿ ಮೋಗನಲೆ ನಿನ್ನ
What a voice and a modulation he has given, right? I hope you all enjoyed it. So we will look at some of the details about how he was a vocalist, was contributing to the field of art, right? And almost like he started singing in sabas, I think later 1920s or early 1930s, and then he was singing about 15 to 20 years, I think, till around 1945 to 49 in those days. I think around 1945 is what it was. The sources were telling that like he took a retirement from the sabas, meaning like not actively singing on the sabas. Okay, fine. And then around 1949 is when he started getting into the field of teaching. It's not that he is not teaching it; he was not teaching it before, but I think after he has retired from his the regular concerts, I think he started like really looking at teaching to a lot of people, and he is very good teacher is what like you can talk to any of his shishya paramparas, and you can see like the his level of commitment and like interest he had in teaching as well, right? And in 1949, Central College of Carnatic Music was formed in Chennai, and then like he was the first principal who was appointed in that particular college. And I think he has definitely like encouraged lots and lots of musicians around those period, and also he has done like a lot of recruitment to get like very good talent into this college, and he has served until 1965 in this college. And he didn't stop even after retiring from this college, right? So he was always teaching his at his home as well. Like there is a big list of shishya paramparas who was learning from him. And obviously as I said, it's his way of singing, and his bani and all is called a Musri school. And even now like there were songs when people sing, so they compare it with Musari Bani or Musari school is what we can call it as. He had a very vast variety of like sishyas who was learning from him, and we will try to look at some of their names. Okay, so N. Rajam was one of the famous artists who was learning from him, and then Musri Yammar, Gopal Ratnam for sure, and then we had a T.K. Govindarao, and then Bombay sisters C. Saroja and C. Lalita was also learning from him, and then they did also perform in a lot of sabas. And Tailamba Krishnan was another famous artist, and then Mani Krishna Swami is another artist who was performing in various stages, and K.S. Venkatraman was also doing the same thing. And I got a chance to witness Suguna Purushothaman and Suguna Varadachari. Both of them were giving lecture concerts in the December season, and I could definitely see the level of the in-depth knowledge they had from their gurus, and the respect they had for their gurus was really tremendous. And I could in one of the lecture demonstrations, I could definitely witness the knowledge he has passed on to the next generation for sure. And then the Sishya Parampara continues, and some of the latest Sishya Paramparas in Musri school are like Kumari K. Gayatri and Kumari Vidya Kalyanaraman. And we do also have some of the other artists like Sri Prasanna Venkatraman and Jayam Venkateshwaran. And we have many more artists, who is really sharing their knowledge, or currently also like performing in the Musri style as well. Okay, so we have looked at Musri as a vocalist, Musri as a teacher. Now let's look at another aspect of Musri sir. Actually, in his early ages, as I said, his family was very poor, and then he was in the need of money. So then he got a chance to act in a movie called Tukaram, right? Even though he was not much interested in acting, but he was agreed to do acting because of the fact that he was poor and he is in the need of money, right? And the poster what we see is a Tukaram movie poster, and in those days, giving some of the details about this movie. Okay, so not only Musri sir, even his guru, T.S. Abes Iyer, was not happy that Musri sir is acting in the movies because Musri sir had some difficulty in his lungs, basically the breathing. So he had some lungs issues. So that's the reason his guru doesn't wanted him to get affected more by traveling to various places, or especially these movie shootings were happening in Coimbatore, which is the cold weather. So that's why his guru was also not keen on having him acting in the films. And I think he was also acted in only this movie is what the sources says. We didn't had much of evidence on he was acting in any of the other movie. And even though he was not learned anything about acting, but his acting in this movie was tremendous, is what people say. And there is a article about this movie by Kalki sir, and actually that gives a lot of insights into how much he is the talent he had in acting as well. Okay, so in those days, in Kalki, there used to be article about almost every movie comes in because those were proper traditional movies with all classical music and things like that. So the picture you see in the center is again article came in Ananda Vigadan as well. And when Kalki sir was writing an article about this movie, he was telling Musri sir used to bunk some of the concerts, looks like, because of various reasons. I think he had some, as I said, he had some lung issues, so he was not able to perform in some of the places. But he used to be the Kalki sir used to make fun of some of those. So he used to tell that Musri sir bunks the concert many times. I think he has made the concerts failure in some sabas. And this movie, Tukaram, is going to be another bigger failure is as well, is what he was trying to narrate it. But again, then when I think he saw the movie and then he realized it, the level of involvement Musri sir had in the acting, and not only the acting and also the narration he did, and also the songs he sung in those different scenes as well, right? So that brought the Kalki sir different aspect of Musri sir. So then he's the Kalki sir was started calling it as Musri Tukaram. It's not about Saint Tukaram. He started talking about Musri Tukaram because that level of acting and the dedication he had. And then the movie also was it was not a very hit at those days because I think it was not a commercial movie, but I think the songs in the movie was really really great, and many of those songs were sung by Musri sir, and the acting was also very good. And I think unfortunately we do not have a copy of that available for us to see. This is another example, right? So how careless we are in preserving the some of the aspect of our art. So that's the reason we have this art and artist. Okay, and there is another interesting aspect about Musri sir, which is related to this movie, right? Because in those days, all these artists, right? They're if you look at it, they look at it. Most of them will not have a mustache, because those concert singing people will not have mustache in those days. So Musri sir was also not having mustache when he was singing in the concerts. But for this movie, mustache was needed, so they were trying to like fit him artificial mustache, and I think he had a lot of itching due to the artificial one. So he said, like, he can't act with that one, so he throwed that, and then he told the director, so like, let's wait for him, wait for my mustache to grow, so then we will continue the shooting. So then the shooting was put on hold for some time until Musri sir got the proper mustache, and then they continue the shooting. Right. So this was another interesting thing. That's why if you look at it, the picture on the top right corner was a dedicated picture, taken and told, like, Musri sir with a mustache. All right. Okay. So now let's quickly listen to one of his song from the movie Tukaram.
सर्वलोक शरण्यसि सर्वलोक शरण्यसि सर्वलोक शरण्यसि साधुन्य परिपूर्णा 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 सर्वजीव कारुण्य सर्व जीव कारुण्य सर्वजीव कारुण्य सर्वजीव कारुण्य सज्जन मुनिगण पुण्य सर्वलोक शरण्य
Great. So I think it was really an awesome um, song and also the good voice. And I'm sure, like, the recording was not that great. I think we should be happy that at least we have this much available in the internet. Okay. So now let's look at what level of honors he got for his work, right? So generally, the Music Academy Madras has annual conferences, which happens for various, like, the art forms, music, dance, and things like that. And during that time, so they used to have a president for that particular conference. And in the year of 1939, he was called out as a president to be part of that conference. And then when the Sangeeta Kalanidhi was award was started as part of the Madras Music Academy in the year 1942, he was awarded as Sangeeta Kalanidhi for the field of music. And then in 1963, Isai Peraringer Award was given to him. And similarly, the Indian Fine Arts gave in Sangeeta Shikamani in 1966. And then 1957 and 67, Sangeeta Natak Academy gave him a fellowship and as well as the Sangeeta Natak Academy Award as well. And in 1971, he was honored with the Padma Bhushan, the great award from the India. And the Indian government also released a stamp in the memory of Musri sir in the year 1999. And you could also witness and a great street was named in the name of Musri Subramaniam sir. Okay. Great. So, a lot of honors, and he was. There's another aspect of Musri sir to look at it. He was, been part of Sri Tyagaraja Brahma Mahotsava Sabha. This is a Sabha which conducts the Tyagaraja Aradhana every year in Thiruvayaru, and he was associated with that Sabha from 1930s for sure. And then from 1942 to 45, and as well as from 66 to 68, he was the secretary and as well as treasurer of that particular Sabha. And he was also playing the president role, vice president role from 1955 to 59. And it is during his timing, right? Like as a president, as a vice president or a secretary, that's where he has took an initiative to celebrate the death centenary celebrations for Tyagaraja, as well as birth bicentenary celebrations for Tyagaraja as well. And apart from that, he was also an Asthana Vidwan of Travancore, Devasthanam as well. That's the major details about Musri sir. I know there are a lot more to cherish and talk about it, but I think I just want to make sure I cover the glimpse of things. And there is another aspect why I took Musri sir today, because I was already covered Thurayur Sri Rajgopal Sharma sir, and then I wanted to cover the similar surroundings. So I started with the Musri sir today. I started exploring a lot of detail. I think it's a tremendous amount of details are available. So that's why I couldn't complete my blog as well, but I'll try to complete my blog as soon as possible, and then I'll uh, share the link in the description section of this video as well, so that people can look at it. And as I said, so this initiative is not just possible to um, continue with just by myself, right? So we are definitely looking for volunteers who can start contributing to this initiative. If you are interested in talking about any of the artists and their history and their contribution to the world of art, please do let us know. So leave your comments, and then we'll be happy to take your help as well to continue further on many of this. All right, and also as I said, I might be aware of some of the artists, but I may not aware of all the artists in the globe, right? So you might have some of the artist details, which will be definitely valuable to the field of art. So let's work together and share, and also try to preserve the history of these artists. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.